Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Comic Chat with Gad, the Express Edition, because we have just gotten done playing the new DC deck building game, which is my new obsession. We had my fiance Shannon join us. We're over at my house actually this time. We're usually at Taylor's. And we had the Arrow crossover pack version 2, full of cats edition. So we're just going to push that off the counter. And so we had a good time. Make sure you go check out the videos on cbxcast.com or youtube.com/cbxcast, the best place to find it. And with the high-fidelity microphone, you will hear some animal violence, but I promise it's all consensual. Not really. So, Taylor, hi.
Hi, Chris. That was a good intro.
Yeah, sorry, it was a little long. Because this is the first time we're recording on my computer, so I get to actually see how long I ramble for, and that was for 34 seconds.
Great.
Yeah.
34.
Well, we got to kill as much time as we can, because we don't even know what we're going to talk about this episode.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't.
So, I just ordered, and I can't wait to watch it, The Death of Superman Lives,
Yeah.
which is that documentary that got all the rave reviews.
Yep.
It's about the totally bizarre Kevin Smith script, but directed by Tim Burton, starring Nicolas Cage as Superman. All of that.
Kevin Smith of Mallrats, so right? Did he do any other superhero movies?
No, the thing is that the stories that he tells is that he does a really great, actually, it's probably another podcast than our podcast, but Batman on Batman is a Batman-specific podcast that's just excellent. Anyway, so he says that he did Mallrats, and since he had those superhero jokes in there, and Stan Lee was in that movie and stuff like that,
okay.
The bigwigs were like, comic books, write the Superman movie, and he's like, there's people that write comic books that would probably be really good at writing. They're like, they don't understand Hollywood. We need one of those Hollywood guys. So he's like, I guess I'll write a script. Well, I mean, why not? When else am I going to get to write like a superhero script? So he wrote this script of this movie. You can find the script online. You can read it.
Have you read it?
I haven't. I have it downloaded to read, but I just haven't had a chance to.
You got the movie now. I'm sure they're going to explain it in the movie.
Yeah, and I'm really stoked. That's at home waiting for me to go home and do that. And I also should have crossover pack 1, the JSA for the DC deck building game,
which is Justice Society of America.
Yep.
Which is like, I had an example for when we were doing the movie that we did for the deck building, because we did a playthrough of it. We did that last week where we never got to see the ending, and this week we actually got to see the ending, but it cut out like halfway through and their camera died. So one day we'll get something that'll work. But could they be related, the JSA, to like how in Watchmen, the first group of superheroes, how they were like the collection?
Yeah,
of
you could kind of consider.
That's
it
just
like
how
that.
I think of them, because especially Bucky, the Flash dude.
No, that'd be Jay Garrick.
Jay Garrick, sorry. Who's there, Bucky?
Bucky is Captain America's best friend that becomes a Winter Soldier.
He's never Flash at
No.
all? Okay. So I kind of thought of them as the same.
There's the Flash is you got Wally West, right, which is the I think it's the nephew of Iris.
Okay.
You've got your Barry Allen, which is your classic Flash, and then you've got your before that Flash, Jay Garrick, and then Bart. I think you were thinking of Bart. Bart Allen.
That sounds right.
Is Barry Allen's grandson that comes back from the future and becomes the Kid Flash.
Okay, so what made the movie not happen? Do you know anything about it except for the fact that you want to see it? Do you know?
I don't know. That's why I'm really curious to watch it, because the thing is called "Whatever Happened to Superman Lives" or "What Happened to Superman Lives? What Happened?" or something like that. So I'm curious. The same thing is there was a Justice League movie that was directed by George Miller, the guy that did all the Mad Max and did the recent Mad Max movie. That was to a point where they picked the cast. Arnie Hammer, the guy who's the Russian guy in that new Henry Cavill movie, Uncle.
Okay.
It's coming out.
Yeah.
And he's in a bunch of stuff, like whatever. He was going to be Batman. And the guy who was the Flash, I can't remember his name, but he was on one of Kevin Smith's podcasts, and they had an interview with him about it. And like they were all in Australia. Like they were checking out the sets. Like they'd already tried on like pre-suits. They had read the script. The script was good. And they were going to start filming, but it was right before the writer's strike.
Was this late 2000s then? Or was this like the writer's strike of the 90s?
The late 2000s, because these guys are pretty young. Arnie Hammer's not that old, so he had to be a young Batman. He was like early 20 Batman.
Okay, so yeah, this was the late 2000s
the writer's strike
writer's
that affected that was with everybody. That was everybody. It was the one that affected like Heroes. So season 2 Heroes was like pretty bad because of it and everything else. So that's the recent writer's strike. Because it was the middle of Nolan's Batman universe, so he wasn't very happy that they were having a different Batman.
Yeah.
In something else, so that was part of it, they think.
Sure.
And but the story, apparently, the Flash was going to do he was going to be talking about kind of the Speed Force throughout the movie. We never see it. And at the end, he was going to have to run across the world because he had to save the day, because he always does right in a crisis. Flash always saves the day, and he was going to run back to Iris across the world and explain that he loves her and stuff. And supposedly no one can hear him in the Force, but you see one tear. And then he runs back she understands, because he has to save the world and die. And it sounds so awesome. It sounds great. And they're doing a documentary of that now because the Superman Lives one.
You know, instead of making all these live action, just go watch Flashpoint Paradox.
That was
It's
great.
honestly one of my favorite movies.
It's a
period.
great. I
It's
mean,
a really
I'm
good
gonna give you the book
movie.
to read though, because there's so much more that you can
Is
learn.
there? Yeah, I would like to learn more. I just thought it was such a great movie. When
If
I
you
was
like
just
the
sitting
movie,
there
the book,
watching
like honestly, it still feels watered down comparatively, and it's only a 7-issue book.
it.
So.
I still need to get through the second part of Dark Knight Returns to the
that's
movie.
so good.
I watched the first half while I was in on a plane, and then the second half I only got maybe 40 minutes into. So the final 20 minutes, the important part, the battle and all that,
Yeah.
which I'd seen in a previous episode of the show. But yeah, I still have to get through that.
Once you watch that, like rewatch like both parts of the Dark Knight, and then watch Year One, and then rewatch the Dark Knight trilogy, the Nolan stuff, and you're like, wow, like he just literally just liberally just was
Huh.
taking from it, like to a point where, I mean, Dark Knight Returns obviously starts out he was gone for a while and then came back. It wasn't only 8 years, but still, it's like, oh, the Batman's back. Like there was even a part I think in the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises, right? The Dark Knight Rises, the movie where there's a young cop and an old cop, and the old cop realizes what's happening with Batman, and the young cop tries to shoot at Batman. Batman's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" Like, and the old cop's like, "Hey, stop it!"
I remember that scene.
Well, if you also remember in the first part of the Dark Knight Returns, when the Dark Knight comes back, the old cop's like, "You're gonna see this. It's gonna be cool." Like literally just
Yeah.
take it from it. And then Year One is so close to Batman Begins that
I
because you
wonder
just
who
bought
got
that
you
movie.
Year One for your birthday.
Oh, that was the one and only Chris Gatling.
I got you that.
He's a good guy.
So we've talked about how you're going to see it. Now next week, I'm assuming you've already going to have seen it, and then we'll talk about it again.
and then you should watch
After
the
we try
documentary.
deck building again.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go with next week. I don't need any instructions.
Just DC
I think
Deck
I'm
straight
ready.
up?
I think I'm ready. And we even let you switch. Nope.
No, you don't wanna switch
we
yet.
We can't do that.
We might not be Arrow though. We might just do
No,
regular
that's fine.
superheroes.
We can do regular. That'd be pretty cool to do regular superheroes.
Yeah.
So then the next thing we're talking about, we're switching gears from DC movies. We're going into something that I enjoyed very much. One of the only graphic novels I've ever read was Civil War.
Right, and we talked about that 2-3 episodes ago, the Civil War, and we wanted to recap that because the Civil War #1, which is a continuation of Civil War because of Secret Wars, was coming out, and I was like, if you got to get prepared, know this. It starts out like with an exact like shot for shot of right when they go into
Spoilers, I guess.
spoilers.
Yeah.
If you listen to the last
it's like
episode,
7 years old though.
yeah, it's pretty
so-
old. It's Civil War, and the movie's coming out, so maybe spoilers, I guess. But they're in the prison that the side of Iron Man made for all the superheroes and stuff and the bad guys. And there's a point where they, Captain America breaks out all the other superheroes, and because T'Challa, who is the real name of Black Panther, is hacking the computer to unlock the things, and all of a sudden it's like we have plenty of people, and they have to fight, then they escape and Cloak, the guy that can teleport people, and then they fight in New York City, and that's when Captain America gives up. But right when T'Challa is hacking, he says, "Oh no, there's a security override in the system that's going to blow the whole place up when we tried to hack in. So Iron Man set us up for this, and we're all going to die. Get out of here." And so they tell Cloak to get out of here. Meanwhile, someone on Iron Man's side says, Captain America just told Black Panther to blow up the facility to screw everybody else. So Iron Man's like, everyone get out of here. And they see Cloak just tries to save everybody because he's like, whatever, we're all friends. Like, this is a stupid fight anyway. And they try to escape to New York City, and they're all falling out of New York City, which is the part where Cap shouts, anyone who can fly, grab another hero who can't. And he's about to say that, but he still had the portal open inside of his body or whatever, the Cloak did, and just the explosions blew up all of New York, and like half the people, like Matt Murdock died right away, which is Daredevil, and a whole bunch of other people, like Cloak, died in the middle of it. And because it was never resolved, and because they both think that it was the other that blew up the facility, and I don't know, maybe it was Black Panther himself. I don't think he would do that. It's weird. Like, I don't know why, and I hope this book is going to explain
I
what
was going to
actually
say,
happened.
so you don't. So there's how many issues are in this?
There's a total of, I think, 5 or 6. It's
Okay,
just
and
5
so
little issues. So
how often do they come out? Every month? Every couple
this is every
weeks?
2 weeks for
Oh,
this.
cool.
So we
So
should
it'll
be
be
able to
that
like
long.
catch up as we go. And I don't want to give away. I think you should go read it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I will next week. Once the next issue comes out, maybe I'll fully
That's a
go
good
into
idea.
it. But it basically takes place years later, and the U.S. has been divided into two: the Iron, which is Iron Man's side, and the Blue, which is Cap's side. And they both have their own philosophies and stuff, and it just seems it's fascinating to me because it feels much like Old Man Logan. I really like the vibe of that, like what happens years in the future if something terrible happens to whatever. Like in Old Man Logan was all the heroes, and what did Logan do to make that happen? And this side, it's just like what the Civil War just continued on. The United States split in half.
Is there violence? Like, is it graphic like Old Man Logan? Because Old Man Logan, I remember you were telling me and showing me that it's not a pretty book.
It's just as it's pretty much as graphic as Civil War was. Like
Okay, yeah.
so pretty graphic.
Same-
like people die and stuff.
Same guys
but-
who did it?
No, it's not. I don't think. I should have probably looked that up. I don't think so.
Okay.
What Civil War? What's going interesting is the Secret Wars is what let this happen. And Secret Wars we talked about is the Marvel equivalent of like Convergence and everything else that was going on. and it's kind of their like reboot. It's their Flashpoint, I guess, kind of more so than anything else, which reboots their universe, and they're combining characters and everything like that. In the first issue, they killed 3 of the 4 Fantastic Four.
Wow.
They just like everyone but Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards is dead.
First issue of Secret Wars, though.
Yeah.
Not of this one.
No, sorry, yeah, of Secret Wars. So that's real. That's canon. Like Secret Wars is canon. That's really happening. Like Sue and Johnny and the Thing were in a ship, like trying to get connected back to the Thing, and they got blown up. And Reed's
By
like Sue, just
something,
like by the
or-
whole war that's going on, by the
okay.
other side, the Ultimates, I guess, side versus the Standard.
So what is the end game of the new Civil War? Is it
The new Civil War, I don't know. I mean, what's weird is what they're going. The Secret Wars, they're just letting them do anything they want. It's almost like
Oh, so Civil War is a subsection of the Secret Wars.
and it's its own thing. I don't even think it's really related. It's just
Okay.
under the Secret Wars banner. So it's kind of like, I think all the Secret War stuff is just the excuse of Marvel letting the Marvel writers write whatever they want. That's awesome. Because I was in the comic book store and I didn't even realize all this stuff was going on. Like, I knew Civil War, but I didn't realize the extent. Like, Marvel Zombies is a super fun book. And it's basically like, it's about like a zombie virus affecting. And so like all the different Marvel heroes are starting to all become zombies. So you get like superpowered zombies, and like then Galactus attacks and they all team up and like eat Galactus, like because they're zombies. It's awesome. It's really good. Like, these Marvel zombies are fun. So now they have Age of Ultron versus Marvel zombies. So it's like, what if all the Ultron bots are fighting the Marvel zombies? You're like, why not? You know? And then there's like a battle world, which is like Convergence, where it's just like all the different versions of Hulk and stuff fighting other Hulks and fighting everybody else. And it seems like it's just like this giant like love fest of whatever we want to write about in Marvel going on right now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I still was in there, and I didn't buy everything that I probably could have, but I still like my DC heroes more than my Marvel heroes, but
Sure.
I loved Civil War, and this, I mean, it's like I loved Old Man Logan, so it feels like a mix between the two. And I also bought Deadpool's Secret Wars.
Secret Wars?
Secret. It's two Secrets of Deadpool, and it's Deadpool's secret war that he was fighting alongside the original Secret Wars in the 70s. And so it takes place back then in the comics, but it's like all the stuff he did to save the world while everyone didn't know about
How
it.
old is Deadpool?
I mean, it doesn't
It's-
really
okay,
matter.
I didn't know if
it's
that was a-
goofy. I mean, Deadpool is
Okay,
goofy as
sure.
it is, but I mean, Deadpool has a superhuman healing factor like Wolverine.
Oh,
Even
I didn't
actually
know
faster than Wolverine's. And so he could be older. We don't know. I guess the Ryan Reynolds movie looks really good. So,
As you saw, I still have yet to see it.
well, I saw the trailer.
Well, yeah, no, sorry, yeah, not the movie
Man,
yet.
that'd be
Not the
crazy.
movie yet. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, I
Quick
mean,
bite episode of Comic Chat
that's
with
good.
Gad.
The new Cyborg looks really good. I'd suggest picking that up if you
Is
haven't.
there anything different? In
It's
that
Cyborg
one?
number 1. Like, yeah, like there was a sneak peek. If you have the Comixology app, you could download like the first couple of pages, I think. And it's like the sneak peek of Cyborg number 1. And I wasn't gonna pick it up, and then I read those first 4 pages, and I was like, this seems
This is
awesome.
good.
Yeah, it's like he's fighting alongside of like Batman and I don't remember, maybe Wonder Woman, and they're all of a sudden they're these like these cybernetic. I don't know, aliens, I guess. They're like, Cyborg, give us back what you stole. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't steal anything. And they just like, they come and they cut off one of his arms. He's like, that's gonna take forever to build again. And they cut off his other arm. He's like, ah, and they stab him to the chest and kill him.
Oh.
And you're like, what? And then all of a sudden, like, Batman's like, he's dead. And then he just like, there's like this, like, you see like text of like a computer, kind of like, it's obviously not him talking. And it's like, rebuilding 5%. And he's like, ugh, he wakes back up and like it rebuilds his skin, but it's cybernetics or something, and it rebuilds him. He's like, I don't know how I'm alive, but he kind of looks like his classic Teen Titans outfit.
Oh,
Instead of
cool.
being like all metal everywhere.
He has part arm
He's
and
like,
part
he has
metal in
real
it.
arms looking, but they're metal underneath or something. I don't know. I was like, this sounds super cool. And there's good reviews for that. So I think that's about, that wraps up, I guess, our episode today. How long have we been recording?
14 minutes.
That's not long enough.
You think so?
I don't know.
It's quick bites. Everyone got to know. I mean, it's the summer. There's not really much. We talked about Comic-Con in the last issue. You should definitely go listen to that. We've got our CBX cast on YouTube, youtube.com/CBXCASTS, where you can watch the tabletop stuff. Then we had the Arrow deck building. You should get that from Cryptozoic. Yeah, because it's in short supply. I
Those
picked
guys are
mine
super
up.
nice. You should, reach out to them.
Friends of the show, Cryptozoic.
Yeah, man, they're really awesome.
And I mean, I think that's it. Brevity. The
All
soul
right.
of wit.
Well, there we go.
So there we go, everyone. Of course, as we just said, youtube.com/CBXCasts, CASTS. You can do the Twitter at ComicChatWGat. You can do Instagram, Comic Chat with Gat.
Yes, sir.
And then Tumblr. Not really. There's no Tumblr. What else? Closing words.
Where you can find us to record, where you can get the podcast.
I don't know.
You know where you can get the podcast.
Yeah, on any of your podcasts.
Yeah,
apps.
anytime
it's a
you
trick
get everywhere you
question.
get podcasts.
Yeah, everywhere you get
You just
podcasts,
type in
just-
Comic Chat with Gat.
Yeah, or is it? It's not WGAT. It's
No,
just with Gat?
only
Okay,
your
good.
Twitter.
Okay, I ran out of characters. So, anyways,
Thanks for listening.
bye.